Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7, and this is one of my favorite videos, and that is the balance adjustment preview. This is my first time seeing it. It released literally minutes ago. Have not seen any spoilers. Do note, we will make mistakes, we will have fun, we will be excited, we'll then be disappointed, we'll then be excited. It'll be a roller coaster of emotions, and the general idea is just have some fun talking about this together, and seeing how excited I am. And it often depends on if I have the ML5s that are changed, you know, or even the ML4s. So let's get into this. And do note, again, haven't seen any of this, but I'm expecting somebody who really needs buffs and never gets any, you know, maybe like a Euphine we could see here. So what do we got? Let's see if we can see everything here. Ambitious Tywin. Okay, so there's strike number 1 for me. Do not have Ambitious Tywin. 5-star Covenant Melissa, 5-star Covenant Kise, 2 characters I love. Actually, I don't really love Kise, but I do love Melissa. I've had her plus 15 since the start. Fairytale Tenebria. That's such a weird one. I'm guessing there's going to be a rerun. Did she really need a change? It's so weird to me, right? I see Mui under there, and I'm very excited. It's so weird to me with Tenebria because I thought she was in a good spot. I fought her recently in Arena. She did really well. She's not the type of unit I think of when somebody needs a buff, you know? Neither is Kise. Kind of weird. Melissa, maybe. Mui, definitely. But Tenebria, Kise, I have no idea with Tywin. So about 50-50 so far. Then Axe God for some reason. Okay, so this list is very underwhelming to me, and I wish there were more. If they're gonna do this infrequently, I wish they would hit more people. They didn't even target a 4-star this time, which just seems wild to me. 4-star should be like a big target of these, like maybe adding some changes to like I'm blanking. I can't think of a single 4-star. Like Silk, I don't know. Weird there's no 4-stars. Artifacts Guide to a Decision, don't really remember what either of those are. Wall of Order is the one Landis artifact, I think, that gets attacked when they have buffs. Okay, so unexpected list of units. Let's see here. So I don't entirely know what Ambitious Tywin does. As always, I've never used him. I know what he does technically, but not entirely. So Icy Sword removes, or when the caster is enraged, ignores effect resistance. I did not know he had enrage. Tywin has enrage? What enrages Tywin? Oh, it's new. Why does Tywin get enraged? That seems so weird. Okay, so Battle Command, let's look at this first. So this is his main bread and butter. It's 100% chances to spell 1 debuff from all allies when an attack is debuffed after the caster is attacked. When an ally is debuffed. And enrages the caster for 1 turn. So weird. Can only be activated once per turn, so it's essentially always on him. Because it's on him and then on him again after it procs. So it's on quite a bit, especially on his turn when it matters here. So and then it's going to ignore ER. So 75% chance to provoke. Maybe that goes up to 100% after Molagora, which is like a guaranteed provoke. That seems pretty good. And then Flash here, before 80% chance each to stun and increase speed. Now 80% chance each to stun and increase defense, and ignores ER. Interesting. So obviously feels like a buff. Decreased defense is pretty important, especially in an opener like this. Not an opener. I don't even know the right word for him. Support unit maybe. Decreased speed is great, but like obviously ignores ER, and decreased defense is pretty sound too. So Ambitious Tywin is a highly versatile hero who possesses the ability to continuously dispel debuffs from units while inflicting debuffs such as provoke and stun on enemies, remove their souls, and dealing AoE damage. However, leveraging his full potential was a challenge as he required simultaneous enhancement of several stats. With these adjustments, his skill Battle Command will remain effective in dispelling debuffs while reducing the effectiveness required. Cool. I mean, it's a decent change. Nothing I'm excited about. Unfortunately. I thought he was always a decent choice. Wasn't he a decent choice anyway? Seems so weird to me. Anyway, Melissa. So speaking of units that never get buffs, Melissa's one. She's gone through a ton of changes. Somebody over there really likes Melissa. So let's see. So, attacks the enemy by unleashing Inner Rage before granting immortality to the caster for 1 turn. The skill's cooldown is reset when the enemy is defeated. And now, damage dealt increases proportionate to the caster's lost HP. Okay. Now it acquires 3 souls on Blood Boom. Instead of 2. And a portion of the damage inflicted on allies except for the target by single attacks will be suffered by the target. This is so weird. This is one of your 2 ML5s? Oh, 5 ML5s. This is one of your, how many units is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of your 6 units? I was expecting something bigger. So maybe I'm not understanding this part. Obviously, curse damage increase is good too. So manifestation will be adjusted to inflict damage proportionate to her health loss, thereby maximizing the utility of the immortal effect. Yeah, it makes sense. Moreover, her skill Blood Boom will acquire more souls, and the curse effect triggered by the skill will be modified. The damage inflicted on the target under the curse effect will be significantly increased, making it easier for her to suppress enemies. However, the curse effect will no longer cause the target to take a different damage. Wait, that's bad, right? Don't you often need the curse damage to kill the main target? Okay, let's go to the next one. Kise. Speaking of units that never get changes, another one that's got many iterations of changes. Oh, this patch pisses me off so far. I'm trying to be optimistic. Let's be real here. Maybe these changes are good. I'm trying to be optimistic. But the infrequency of these patches and the lack of changes that are done and the reoccurrence of multiple units that just keep getting changes like Melissa, like Kise, is really frustrating to me, to put it bluntly. So that's where the hesitation is coming from. I'm trying to be positive, but it is what it is, right? No 4 stars, no 1 3-star, which has got a ton of changes in himself. Axe God has gotten like 2 or 3 iterations of changes, has he not? Interesting. So Kise here attacks all enemies with a scythe, penetrates the enemy's defense by 30%. Damage dealt increased. It already did a boatload, but that's always good. Barrier strength increased on Nocturne here. Ooh, that's it? I mean, okay. Kise is a versatile hero who can increase the cooldown of enemies through her high speed, granting herself stealth and a barrier for enhanced survivability, and unleashing an AoE attack in a chain that pens enemies' defense. However, there were instances where maintaining stealth before using Dark Scar proved to be difficult, and the damage dealt by Dark Scar was low. Yeah, decreased damage is obviously good. With these adjustments, the barrier provided by Nocturne will be strengthening. Makes sense again. Interesting. Okay, let's see what this does. This is kind of weird to me because I thought she was good already. So they're changing 2 poisons into redirected provoke with a higher chance as well. I mean, I think that's good, right? It fits more in line with the other stuff she has here, like her wild card. But I feel like Fairytale Tenebria should poison, lore-wise. Also, random debuff goes from silence, decreased defense to decreased speed. Damage dealt increased. Fairytale Tenebria is a hero with the ability to overpower enemies using her skills, Tea Party, and Shuffle. Yet her in-battle effectiveness was limited when she was able to use Tea Party. I mean, that was true. To address this weakness, I mean, was it? You always had Shuffle? I don't think it was super limited. To address this weekend, and you could also pair her with other people that have it to help. To address this weakness, improvements are being made to her skills. First, one pair's effect will be changed from inflicting poison to redirected provoke, thereby increasing its synergy with Shuffle. Furthermore, the additional damage of Shuffle will be increased One of the random debuff effects, unhealable, were replaced by decrease in speed, improving her ability to effectively contain enemies in prolonged battles. Okay, now the one I'm excited for. Please, Mui. I love Mui. She's one of my favorite designs. She's plus 15. Let's see. So Lash, instead of a random debuff, it now does target. I don't know if I like this. I really like the random debuff. I'm not sure if it's better or not. Personally, I thought it fit her kit and was really fun. They could have just buffed this random debuff to 2 turns instead. And also, the soul burn was terrible. That was one of the big problems with her kit, was specifically the soul burn didn't offer anything to help her rotate skills, give her an extra turn, ignore ER, or something like that, right? That was always the problem. Let's see now. So punishment is the AoE, which inflicts bleedings and stun. Now damage dealt decreased. And all skill cooldowns decreased by 2 turns. And grand finale here goes up in a cooldown, but don't worry, you can burn to get rid of it now. Acquires 2 souls instead of 3. Oh, well, look at this one. And increase the combat readiness of the caster by 25% per critical hit. I mean, that helps. And her imprint is way better as well. Okay, so this obviously helps. So one of the big predicaments with Mui is we see here, Grand Finale dispels buffs and buffs your team. And then Punishment here inflicts bleeding and stun. So you would use her, and your choice would either be to stun and bleed, maybe 1 or 2 targets or 3 targets maybe, and then not hit the people with immunity, or Grand Finale and then not do anything. So now you have the opportunity to go Grand Finale into Punishment. Maybe not entirely, like 100% crit is not entirely likely, but if you get 75% CR from this, you will likely go ahead of a lot of their other units. So that's overall pretty good. Interesting changes. I'm not sure what I think. I don't like this. I really like the randomness. Like, the whole entire thing about her skill set is random, right? 50% chance each, then like 80%, and then it's just random, and it was really fun. But I'm interested. So Mui is here with the ability to dispel enemy buffs and inflict debuffs, but her reliance on chaining skills based on chance limits her effectiveness in battle. Yep. With these adjustments, her skill Grand Finale... Oh, there was an EE that changed something too that helped her get skills off, but it was like a chance of an extra turn or something? I can't remember. With these adjustments, her skill Grand Finale will now be guaranteed to greatly increase her combat readiness with each crit raid. It also makes it so you have to build her crit now, which is tough because she was already extremely stat hungry. You needed speed, you needed effectiveness. She's also getting hit by all the counters because both of her skills have AoE attacks, so she needs defenses. Okay. Lowers damage? I don't get it. Last, which previously had limited usability to its probabilistic nature, will now target an enemy, and its soul burn effect will be transferred to Punishment. Additionally, the imprint concentration provide an increased chance to dual attack through exchange exclusive equipment. With these changes, we anticipate seeing Mui in a wider range of battles. I mean, I'll build her for sure. Mui's exclusive equipment option 2 will be adjusted as follows. As adjusted, there will be a change. Players will be able to change the option from equipment 2. What does this even say? As there will be a change to her exclusive equipment, players will be able to change the option for this equipment for 2 weeks after the adjustments have been applied. Exclusive equipment that had adjustments made to their options and so it's obtained prior to the adjustment is eligible to be changed. When a player changes the option, other effects of the exclusive equipment remain unchanged. Okay, so what I'm confused here is they're not actually saying what the exclusive equipment was changed to. That's why I was confused. Will be adjusted as follows, and then they're just changing how you change it, but they didn't actually say. Anyway, Ilorio's here. Now it's proportionate to the caster's max health instead of proportionate to the caster's max health. That's the same thing, right? Yeah, that's the same thing. Now attack chain here. Shockwave, 60% chance to provoke for 1 turn. Okay, 1 soul instead of 2 souls. And then smacks the enemy now at 2 souls instead of 1 soul, and that is imprint concentration is crit. Oh, this is the regular one. That's why. Let me read the actual specialty change. So, damage increases proportional to the caster's max. Yeah, it's the same. It's also provoking. That's the same. Vigorous strike here. It's the same. They're also changing wedge runes, so increases critical hit chance by 5. Now, after being attacked by a light element, has a 100% chance to increase the effectiveness of the caster for 1 turn. Increases damage dealt instead of having buff duration extension. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. When an ally is attacked by a light elemental unit, has a 15% chance to counterattack with Shane. I'm not going to read that. Interesting choices. This is not a character I super love. He was really popular earlier in the game when there were less units to choose from. Anyway, let's see. Guide to a decision. So at the start of the battle, 100% chance to grant a barrier equivalent to 15 to 30% of the caster's max health. Okay, so it just increased it by 5 to 10%. That's always good. And Wall of Order is the one that gets a buff when they have buffs, right? Yes, so now it's 5 to 10. And now it removes, after using an attack that targets all enemies, increases the CR of the caster by 10%. And now at the end of the turn, grants a barrier equivalent to 25 to 50% of the caster's attack for 1 turn. So that seems really, really good, right? And this is a ranger artifact as well. And I find rangers don't always have the best choices. Like, they've got things like that are super overpowered, like Guiding Light, and the defense down one, but there's not like a wide range. So I really like this. I don't think there's any that protect outside of Guiding Light again. That's really cool. That's a pretty big barrier too, right? And also the barrier increases with greater attack as well, right? So this is 10% for each buff. That's not bad. Okay, so didn't love this patch. I think this is one of my least favorite balance patches so far. Tywin is obviously a buff, but it's a huge miss for me. Melissa was kind of a miss. Not super stoked for this. And unless I'm misunderstanding this, like, not cursing the main target is massive. And then Kise was just a little bit of a buff, which wasn't enough to make me want to use her. Fairytale Tenebria was pretty cool, adding that redirected provoke here. But this is like not really important, right? Like, unhealable might even help you more than decrease speed, and sometimes it's such a low chance to have that actually impactful and make any changes in the turn order. So it's really just the skill 1 that's massive, and there's also the damage increase too, which may be big. We don't know. Mui was interesting. So obviously Mui's was a pretty big buff, I think, outside of not liking skill 1 because of meme purposes. Damage dealt decreased, I'm not really happy with. And I wish they made her less stat hungry instead of more. So again, one of the things with Mui is stuff like this, with bleeding effect. Like, the bleeding doesn't really do anything. She doesn't have enough attack for it to do anything. So this is really like a stun with like a random chance to bleed that doesn't really matter, you know? And now you also have to get crit. Like, you've got to go 100% crit now, right? You can't even go 85 because you need to crit on everybody. You get this effectiveness boost as well, which is pretty big if you have triple S. Interesting. I'm definitely going to try her out. I love Mui so much. I wish they either changed the bleed to something else, or like attacks with a whip with 75% chance to target for 2 turns. If the target is bleeding, reduce the cooldown of skills by 1 turn. You know, like something like that. Give a reason for the bleed. Because right now there's just literally no reason. Church of Ilios. Guide to the Decision was just a small buff, while the order seemed pretty big, and I like the idea of it. So yeah, let me actually check. I'm curious what Reddit thinks of this. I always like checking to see, because whatever Reddit says, you guys are going to yell the same comments. Okay, so can you read this? SG really wants to make Melissa think. This is her nth buff already. Yeah, that's what. And for those of you who aren't aware, if you're watching this long, a lot of what I was saying at the start was super sarcastic. Like Fiend not getting any buffs and stuff like that. It was meant to be sarcastic because they consistently buff the same people multiple times over. It's kind of meh. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Artifact buffs are good. That was the best part about this. No LQC. A lot of people were thinking LQC would get a buff with her skin thing here, and I kind of thought so too, especially considering I'm not sure in RTA and I don't have LQC, so I can't say too much, but I thought somebody like Aiden has kind of taken over her slot. Maybe they go together well, but Aiden is just so powerful, right? Melissa's, yeah. Tywin's buff is fair. Rage gives extra speed as well. Yeah, less interesting balance patch for sure. Melissa got her this is her 4th buff. It's wild. Kise and got robbed for nothing. The Crimson Seed and Anchor nerfs are not happening. I assume since they did mention the Crimson Seed and Anchor nerfs. I'm not sure what's going to happen with those. Tywin won't ever miss now. That's funny. Yeah, Tywin's buff was really good. Don't get me wrong. The buff is great, but it's just not somebody I use or have. This is definitely one of the balance patches. Oh, I thought it was one of the best balance patches. Arcade is nice. This is definitely one of the, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, Tywin buff. I agree. It was really good. I don't know how overpowered it'll be, but yeah, this is kind of what I feel. This is kind of what I feel. Like, they just keep repeatedly buffing the same people, and they don't buff them enough to really matter until they overbuff them, but that takes like 7 patches, and they only do this many. That's not okay. Anyways, not happy with this patch. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna be bubbly and happy if I'm not happy, you know? Like, people say, it's funny when, like, I do a sponsor video, and they're like, stop being fake. You know, it's obvious you're being fake, and like, I'm not. I'm having fun. Like the last match 3 video, for example, I had a blast making that video, and I was happy and I was enjoying myself. But I'm not going to be fake saying this is good. This is terrible, in my opinion. The way they're approaching this and the frequency. If something like this happened more regularly, like 2 times as much, maybe yes, that's okay. But for the infrequency, especially, this is big too, especially going into a new RTA season. The RTA season is just ending. Why not do some massive sweeping changes across the board, completely shake things up? Because I can't see this really changing much, right? Sure, Tywin will be used more. Like, that's not going to make Melissa be used. I don't think that's going to make Kise be used anymore. I don't know about the Fairytale. I don't think that's enough to make Mew used more. It is what it is. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and have a wonderful day. Bye, everybody.